Hello, and welcome to the first edition of the Coyote Coaches Show. I'm Landon Fruon, joined today by Athletic Director and Head Varsity Football Coach, Seth Parr. And with varsity being halfway through this season and the team's record being 5-0, I think a question in a lot of people's minds is, how are you planning to build off of the record last year's season, 7-3, and go into the playoffs this year?
Well, we always set a vision at the beginning of the year, and our vision is always the state championship. So, we know where we want to go. If they're going to be given a trophy at the end of it, that's where we want to be. So, building off of things when you have a vision and is pretty easy. So we have that vision, but now we have a process and a step-by-step thing that we have to go through to make sure we can get to that process. Get to the end of our vision, and that's hard. It's not always easy, but it's basically really a lot of fundamentals, and you got to make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing every single day, and it keeps you kind of level-headed and doesn't really let you think about the past. You only think about what's happening right in front of you, and then start building on each day.
Yeah, and how have you been able to keep your team level-headed with a great start to the season with last-minute victory against Aubrey and beating Salina for the first time in 50 years?
It's good to get a lot of people excited. It's good to see the crowds. It's fun, right?
Yeah.
And everything in school is better when you're winning. But what we got to do is make sure that we stay with our system that made us have that chance to be 5-0. So when we first got here, I don't think they had won. Now I think 7-3 was their best record since 1981. And what we try to do is put system and structure in place in order to, do it year round to give us a chance to win. So these guys have worked extremely hard from the first day of off season till right now. Giving up like 3 hours a day in the summertime and doing 7-on-7, all that kind of stuff, all the way to every practice. And that gives you a chance to be successful when you do all those things. And that's all we ask for is a chance to, at the end of the game, to have the ability to win it. And I think our guys have done a really good job, and they've stuck with that process, and they understand it, and we're just trying to make it better each day. So kind of really staying level-headed because all we can think about is Maybank right now.
Yeah, and for the upcoming rest of the season and the rest of the games, how do you prepare your team in practice?
Well, usually we have after a game, our typical week is we have a Saturday practice starting at 10 a.m. They'll come and get treatment, and then a lot of our guys will go through a special teams. We'll watch our film on special teams. We'll go out through a special teams practice. At 11 o'clock, the whole team lifts, and then we go and watch our film. Now, Monday, these kids come in around 6:30, 6:15. We start practice at 6:30. We'll go to around 7:30. We practice during the period, and then we'll practice after school from Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Thursday's a little bit different, but we lift and we have team dinners. And then Fridays we're on to our game, and it's a long process to go through the game. So what we're trying to teach them is, if you want to be good and you really want to do something great, you got to give up your time.
Yeah.
And you got to give up some of the things that you might like, free time. I always tell them, you can scroll for 2 hours on the phone, or you can get something done. So spend time we don't want to spend time, we want to invest our time. And if you invest your time in things that are going to be productive, then you got a better chance to be successful. I don't care if it's in school or in athletics or anything that you do. Just make sure you're not, having a lot of free time.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of our biggest competitors just leave our division this year. And has that changed your approach at all?
No, we were going to beat them if they were in here. Anyway, in our mind, we are the best competition. So one thing about it is you can't look at yourself as somebody less than somebody. You got to look at yourself as the best of who you are, and your best is okay, and your best is good enough. So, we feel like if we played Melissa, we would play with Melissa, and we'd beat Melissa. If we played with Argyle, we would beat Argyle. So, you got to be real careful of giving people credit when you don't give yourself credit. And, just like what you guys did doing this year with your Coyote vision and all the films that y'all made a year ago, that wasn't something that we could do. But now you guys put out a video that was seen by one of the biggest media markets in the state of Texas. But you gave up something. You gave up your time to go shoot those videos, and you put them together and took a lot of pride in it, and that's what you get. And same way in football or anything else. Be careful of giving too many people too much credit, and give yourself credit where don't mean be cocky, but just means, don't lessen your value because you've earned it and you've worked hard to get it.
And have you changed your coaching style this year or learned anything from the kids at this school?
You're always changing and adapting. The way I coached in 2007 when I was at a school called Caprock, and is a lot different than I coach here in Anna at 2020. The fundamentals and the principles are the same. The standards that it takes to win are the same, so we got to hold our standards at a high level. What might change is our approach or how we do it. Maybe we found a better way to do it. We're always looking for a better way to do it. So, yeah, definitely it's changed, but a lot of our knowledge as players have changed from a year ago too. So, since they know what to expect, it's easier to adapt because they understand the language that we're talking.
Yeah, and with coaching, have you had anyone that has inspired you in the past or continues to inspire you to this day?
Oh, yeah. I have a lot of people that have inspired me over my lifetime. One is my father. He was a head football coach and athletic director, and the way he inspired me was I got to see him make relationships and how to develop and build teams. And I always wanted to be a part of that since birth. I mean, they say, when did you know you wanted to be a coach? And I always tell them at birth. I always knew I wanted to coach. It's what we did. I got on buses. I was with the team all the time, and I loved it. I love team building. I love those qualities that it takes to do something good with a group. That's my calling. But also my mother was a high school principal, and she was very detailed on how she did everything, almost to annoying status.
Yeah.
We all get annoyed with our mothers sometimes, but I learned that. My brother's a coach at Louisiana Tech, and then we've had coaches around me my whole life. So coaches are my heroes, and of course I read anything I can on successful people. That's my one advice to kids, that if you want to do something, find out what the people in that industry are the best at it and read about them. And that's the best education you get. I read books on Nick Saban, on Bill Belichick, on anything I can get that on successful people, and I read them. And I make sure I take what's good and what I think works for me and my personality. And some of it confirms your thoughts. Some of them are like, yeah, that's what I thought. But when you see somebody else doing it, it kind of says, okay, then if he's doing it, I must be on the right track. Read.
Yes, and I really appreciate you coming on for the first time of having a coach's show. And thank you for everyone coming on and watching. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. And everyone else watching has a brilliant day and an amazing week.
And go Coyotes.
Go Coyotes.
Yeah, that's right.